Absolutely agree with you. Let's slowly move towards your model, because I also want people to take away a visual and a structure that, where they say, okay, what are some of the bells and whistles that we can take a look at? So let's put this into a scenario, and you've done this several times. You're asked by a CEO to come into the company, often because of your reputation, right? Yeah. They call you because you're not like the others. You speak back. You don't always tell them what they want to hear, but you tell them what they need to hear in a diplomatic sort of way, right? Which I think a good leader always loves somebody who stands up to them in a positive sort of way.
While maintaining dignities and respect, absolutely. But I don't sugarcoat anything for anyone. Yeah.
So a CEO comes to you and say, "Listen, I don't feel that the leadership. Besides, and leadership is an evolving thing. It can go up and can go down. A leader comes to you and says, Hayssam, our leadership culture is lacking. Okay, where do you start?
As the Japanese say, the fish rots from the head first.
Oh yeah, that's a famous German saying too. Yeah,
Ishikawa.
Yeah.
And the first thing I ask them is what are you doing about it?
So you start at the top
before you seek my counsel. What are you doing about it?
So you start at the top.
Tell me how you. Yeah. So I'll definitely start at the top. Once I start at the top, I understand I then go to the very bottom, because the heart and soul of an organization is at its front line, my dear brother.
Yeah.
You observe the front line and you see exactly what the front line is doing, and how are they doing it, and you can get analyze sentiment and talk to people at all different levels. And I go from top immediately to the front line, which are the people that are right there up front, center, front of clients and customers. And then I'll see, where is that gap, man? What's going on? I mean, look, a lot of leaders speak a big game on vision and strategy, but does your front line see it?
Yeah.
Do they understand it? Do they know why they're doing it? Do they know why am I sitting here talking to these clients and to these customers, and do I speak your language, Mr. Leader?
Yeah.
And often there's a huge disconnect. I'm telling
you
that
right now.
Actually, one of
my favorite books, I have it over here, from Stephen Covey, where he talks about the 8th habit. He kind of talks about this phenomenon where, I think it was from Stephen Covey, who said that when he interviews executives, he always asks them, do they have a vision? Do they have a mission? Do they have values? And the answer is usually yes. I was recently at an industrial company, and in the training room that I was in, right, they had all their values up there, and they were beautiful values, right? And we were talking about this, where's the bridge between the vision and the action? And we were discussing this, and I said, do you guys believe in these values? And they go, yes, we believe in the values. And I said, okay. And then I went around the circle and said, I want you to pick one of these values and tell me where you live this value on a daily basis. You can imagine what kind of response I got, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I can tell you a similar story, which is absolutely hilarious. I was brought in to do a series of mini workshops for this organization to align their culture and to align their different melting pot of nationalities, and to say, can we please use our values, because all nationalities that we have must be bound together through the values of respect and respect and understanding and patience, and all. It was about that, and it was 2 sessions per day, one morning session and one afternoon session. And the first session was late because of whatever it is, so we had to spill over like another 5 minutes into the second session, while the second group was waiting outside, and their leader, who by the way was responsible to organize these things, comes barging into the room, yelling at me and everybody else as why we are 7 minutes late. And I had to stop and finish, and took him to the side, and I said, I will not move forward with this because I sound like your mouthpiece,
your pit bull,
spewing out a bunch of bullshit that you are not living. So I think I want to say thank you very much. I will not be your talking head talking about what is respect and understanding. And I said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, I would then prefer to say, no, thank you very much, because I'm not representing your principles and values, and it actually becomes more detrimental. People sit there and shake their head and go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But was it really happening? So, and we see that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Ink on paper, vision, mission, values, ink on paper.
Yeah.
Very few companies sit there and they very few of them infuse everything that they do, from emails to communications to meeting to decision making to environment to engagement. They don't talk about those values, but they look great on paper. They look good in front of our investors and maybe our customers. It's the fastest way to lose your credibility, both as a leader or as an organization.
If I were to use an analogy for project management, this is something that drives my passion to always. For me, I agree with you. For me, it's the link between the top of the organization all the way through the organization to the bottom. Yeah. I find a lot of executive leaders are great at expressing a vision, and those visions are beautiful, and they make sense. But I'm always fascinated that they don't understand, just like the pyramid is narrow at the top, once you move down to make it happen, the vision turns into a mission, which turns into a program, which might turn into an initiative or a project, which might turn into phases, which might break down into work packages, which might break down into activities, which breaks down into tasks. You know how much freaking work that is? And who's doing it? And I think the most important thing is, if you really want a culture of leadership, it's an issue of empowerment too. I mean, if how often do you come across employees who just like leaders would love to do the right thing, but they said, I can't because the process says, I can't because my governance says,
or I've been slapped on the wrist before when I took initiative.
Yeah, if I violate the process, although the solution for the client might be obvious. But we constrain our staff from being the leaders that they potentially could be, because we don't give them that free space to maneuver and think. If you're going to, you have to trust your staff. But let's go back, because I think we have a couple good bullet points. The first thing, and I love what you're saying, is you start at the top. What are some of the things that you do at the top? Do you do psychometrics of the leadership, or is it? I'm sure it's a lot of it's one-on-one conversations, kind of in a subtle sort of way. You kind of get a lay of the land. You figure who are the key players at the top, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, what I do is that I sort of walk them through initially the model that I go through, which is the 7 stages of the team performance model. And if you really think about it, there are a lot of indicators around us, both in life and at work. And there's signals, right? Yeah. There's signals. Like, for example, we spoke about relationships and marriages and ex-marriages and stuff like that, and what makes a relationship work. Yeah. There are certain signals. These are red flags.
Yeah, I was going to say red flags.
We see
red yellow,
flags,
green flags. Yeah.
Right. They say, hold on a second, there's something wrong. And if you ignore these red flags, you're going to pay a massive tax. It's going to be really bad, because it's going to culminate into an explosive end, right? So one of the things I ask is, how do you know, hey man, Mr. Leader, how do you know that your vision is understood and adopted by everyone? Yeah. How do you know that people trust you? Yeah. How do you know that people's goals and roles are clear? Yeah. How do you know that people are committed? What makes you? What's your way of you knowing that people are committed? How do you know that you are implementing, and what you're about to implement is going to be on time? What are those indicators that tell you, hey boss, it's all good? And then how do you know that your team is going to sustain that performance, so you can then say, right, how do we do it all over again without burning the shit out of everybody? Are you going to inspect
what you expect even? And do you know how to measure it? And that's where you often get the...
Yeah. And let me tell you what, a lot of the answers I get are so vague and ambiguous. This is when I go, all right, guys, let's go down to basics.
So you have your...
I don't do that to really undermine the leader's ability. I greatly understand what leaders go through. I go through it as well with my organization. But you have to you have to give them such a strong reality slap that for them to say, right, then what do we do? Then let's work on the basics. Grab that toolbox. Let's see what's in it and what's not. For example, Mark, if I want to change a light bulb, I'm going to go to my toolbox. I'm going to grab the right toolbox. I'm going to change a light bulb with a hammer. That's unfortunately, that's the kind of analogy that I use. Is a lot of managers want to fix a light bulb with a hammer. Well, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do, then you are the ultimate victim of what I call, and we see that a lot, which is called the Peter principle. You know, that is, managers and leaders get promoted to the level of their incompetence. So they go up to that level. And if, you as a manager, you had this competence here, right? And then you dealt with it successfully. And then I come to you and say, good job, Mark, I'm going to promote you as a director. Well, then you have you here, and then the old habits and skills that you have no longer work at the top. So now you're on top, right? And you're empty. Your toolbox that is supposed to have full of these things to make you a better
director. And you've
director
never done it before, empty. And it's different when you're there, and you're suffering under imposter syndrome, which is normal. And it's okay, but how do you deal with it?
But then the way you deal with it, unfortunately, is they go back down to the old toolbox and they use the old skills for their current role and their current, responsibilities. Yeah. They end up competing against their team. They end up playing a glorified manager's role by title, and they end up making a lot more damage than good. So that's what I'm saying is, what do? Go back to basics. And make sure that those evergreen tools that are in your toolbox are there no matter what position, no matter what level of seniority you are in or at, that those 7 evergreen skills, those are always there. They are sharpened. You use them by knocking things out of the park, and they become part of your leadership.